What's up, Major?
I got some for y'all. I'm not first squint them now.
I'm there. This is Stringer? Yeah. Who the fuck was I chasing?
Every individual necessarily labors to render the annual revenue of the society as great as he can. He generally neither intends to promote the public interest nor knows how much he is promoting it. He attends only his own gain, and he is in this, as in many other cases, led by an invisible hand to promote an end which was no part of his intention. Adam Smith.
Every individual necessarily labors to render the annual revenue of the society as great as he can. He generally neither intends to promote the public interest nor knows how much he is promoting it. He intends only his own gain, and he is in this, as in many other cases, led by an invisible hand to promote an end which was not part of his intention. Adam Smith. Imagine a bustling marketplace where each trader diligently crafts their goods, driven solely by their own profit motives. Unbeknownst to them, their competitive zeal and craftsmanship collectively building a vibrant city skyline. Or like each brick laid in window polish contributes to an architectural marvel that none can envision alone. This intricate tapestry of individual pursuits guided by an unforeseen force akin to an invisible architect's hand. This shapes a cityscape far grander than any single builder's ambition. That is a metaphor that I came up with as the invisible hand that Adam Smith is talking about. The invisible architect's hand represents Adam Smith's concept of the invisible hand. In economics, which is a term that we use, which is the invisible hand. This symbolizes the architect's hand because it symbolizes how individuals' self-interest, when pursued freely in a market context, can unintentionally lead to beneficial outcomes for society as a whole. Much like how individual builders, which is the architect, I was meaning to say that Adam Smith's, the invisible hand for Adam Smith, this is what symbolizes how individual self-interest is pursued freely in a market. And so go back into the architect's hand, the builder's hand. The builder, he is unknowingly contributing to the creation of a grand cityscape. So the cityscape is so much as like our society, and the architect's hand is the invisible hand that Adam Smith is explaining. This idea of the visible hand shows how individual self-interest can unintentionally benefit society as an entire whole. So today, I want to dive and explore into the mind of one of the wisest individuals in history, Adam Smith. So I'm going to take this challenge on and exploring this. So in 1776 is when the Wealth of Nations was created. So before Adam Smith's era defining insights, the world was entrenched in mercantilism, which is an economic theory and practice common in Europe. From the 16th to the 18th century, mercantilism was promoting governmental regulation of a nation's economy for the purpose of augmenting state power at the expense of rival national powers. It was the economic counterpart of political absolutism. The political doctrine and practice of unlimited centralized authority and absolute sovereignty is vested, especially in a monarch or dictatorship. The essence of the absolutist system is that the ruling power is not subject to regularized challenge or be checked by any other agency, be it judicial, legislative, religious, economic, or electoral. Mercantilism operated on the belief that wealth was a finite pie, with nations competing to seize the largest slice. This led to a cycle where nations facing resource depletion, such as farmland, resorted to invasion for sustenance. Smith envisioned wealth not as plundered treasure, but as cultivated fields of innovation and enterprise. So, in other words, like anytime when like back in those days before the Wealth of Nations, when these nations, their wealth was growing off of farmlands. And so anytime when their farmlands was depleted, when their resources was depleted, they resorted to like pretty much invading other countries or other lower societies. And so Smith, he envisioned wealth not as this. He envisioned it as like more as a cultivated fields of like innovation and enterprise, free markets, letting the individuals to decide, free trade. So I want to like express a little bit more, like go a little deeper into mercantilism. Like I would say, like think of mercantilism as a resemblance as a zero-sum game. It's where nations viewed wealth as a finite pie when one nation's resources dwindled, like I said, like farmland, and their only resource was expansion through conquest, echoing a cycle of like invasion and plundering to sustain economic growth. This was what they known to do, what nations knew what to do prior to a capitalist society, prior to Adam Smith's vision as the wealth of nation. This mindset perpetuated conflicts over limited resources, shaping geopolitical landscapes and fostering animosities between nations. So the term absolutism, you could think of it as like a monarch's chessboard. Absolutism is like, so where the monarch is seated at the helm, he controls every move in peace. The board symbolizes this realm of society where the ruler's decisions dictate every facet of life without opposition. This metaphor illuminates how absolutism concentrated power within a single entity. So shaping like society structures and subjugating diverse voices under centralized authority. So Smith, he introduced the concept of the invincible hand, where individual pursuit of self-interest unintentionally benefits society as a whole. So imagine like I'll give another like analogy, like or metaphor. Imagine this hand like orchestrating an economic symphony where each person's actions contribute harmoniously to the greater good without centralized control. This analogy captures Smith's belief in spontaneous order in the organic growth of economies through decentralized decision making. So in 1776, amidst revolutions and ideological upheavals, Smith, this is when he created the Wealth of Nations. And surprisingly, ironically, the Wealth of Nations came it came out around the same time as the Declaration of Independence. So at this time, while others debated the nature of good government, Smith, he redirected attention to what truly constitutes good wealth. So that's what Smith was more focused on, was what actually does certainly creates wealth. he argued that prosperity, which is something that I'm so big on, lays in nurturing creativity and industriousness, not in hoarding resources. So this is what I talk about with being a value creator. Being a value creator, this is what I'm talking about Adam Smith in the very beginning, because like as I'm always talking about being a value creator, the field that my main field that I study, economics, it just keeps like being in the back of my mind, where I'm mostly just talking about entrepreneurship, being a value creator, in business and stuff. But like this stuff, like it all correlates, and he's saying it right there in the Book of Nations that he's arguing that prosperity lays in nurturing creativity and industriousness. Like it doesn't. You don't have to like invade to gain resources. Walter Williams even talks about it. He's like slavery and even racism could take like a serious death in the face of a capitalist society. Unfortunately, not even America. America is the biggest country that does portray a capitalist society, but no country fully functions as a fully free enterprise, free market capitalist society. No country does it. And I mean, that's why you say we have a lot of these issues going on in this world. So to explore a little more on capital and wealth creation, Smith's conception of capital was revolutionary. This serves as an alchemy, transforming cash into tools of progress, from plowshares to printing presses, from algorithms to artisanry, all became agents of wealth generation in Smith's expansive vision. Smith outlined a natural evolution of nations from agrarian beginnings where fertile lands birth abundance to industrial maturity where minds refine raw materials into marvels. So this progression mirrored the march towards efficiency and ingenuity. So farmlands literally is like growing wealth from the soil. But now when we're talking about industries and we're talking about manufacturing, they can be a little more cost effective and taking up lesser space than farmlands, and they can produce the same amount of production as a farmland. So when you talk about trade and specialization, Smith, he extolled the virtues of trade and specialization. His analogy of the pen factory resonates deeply. So the collaboration of specialized tasks producing outcomes far surpassing solitary efforts. So in this symphony of productivity, each specialist contributes, weaving a tapestry of prosperity that enriches us all. So I think it was Frederick Douglass. I've heard, I think it was Frederick Douglass that I read, that he pretty much said to the slaves, learn to trade or starve. So this pretty much correlates with what I'm talking about with Adam Smith. So trade and specialization, when he's talking about, for me to put it in simple terms, when people back in those days, people were more like a jack of all trades. And when Adam Smith was saying that you don't have to have your servants do everything, and they don't need to be servants anymore at all. And these people, they were in this house and they had a lord that they tended to, and they were just multi-skilled in a variety of different areas. But Adam Smith is saying that even with the microeconomy and in the macroeconomy in a larger scale, that people what you can do is you can find people who specializes in all these different areas, and you can have them work together and produce, and the production will be greater because now you have different people from different skill sets, and they're coming together and they're creating to form one thing. That is the alignment of what Adam Smith is talking about of productivity, of more efficient, effective productivity, as opposed to just doing one person doing everything. So I even sort of pretty much like challenge the idea of specialization. So like while Smith celebrated specialization, I personally embrace this polymathic knowledge, which I believe enriches human achievement. However, now this is where Adam Smith is a genius, because regardless of how smart you are in all these different areas, how skillful you are in all these different areas, because I do advocate for that, but I advocate for that for self, for adding value to self. For this is where you're starting with self. You want to skill stack. You want to become extremely expansive for your own good, for your own being. It will make you, if you do go to a job or you have your own business, it will just make you to be able to communicate and to understand and have a deeper perspective on a variety of different things. You are expanding your mind. However, that does not mean that you stay doing all those things. So this is where outsourcing comes into play. You understand so many different things. You can communicate to so many different people with these things. But now also outsourcing is a skill as well. And it's a different perspective as well. So outsourcing becomes a brushstroke in the masterpiece of global collaboration. It really does. Like, you really become even more effective as a human being when you understand outsourcing. And that's with me even saying, being a polymath and being a journalist, especially in this day and age of technology and AI. So Adam Smith's legacy invites us to transcend the constraints of mercantilism and absolutism by embracing free markets, free enterprise, free trades, a free society. This individual initiative and I'll say the polymathic pursuit of knowledge, we forge paths toward prosperity and societal advancement. And I will even say what a great philosopher that I love studying, Friedrich Nietzsche, he even uses this when you talk about social advancement, the higher man. He uses this term called the Übermensch, and the Übermensch is overman. But I don't want to go too deep into that right now, because that's a different topic in the philosophy of mine as well. It goes beyond this. But to keep it simple, this stuff is really fun to me. I love talking about this stuff. I can talk about this stuff all day long, but to keep it simple, like, and this will be a one video of mini series, but understanding these ideologies through, I guess you could say, analogies and metaphors that I'm trying to express, this does illuminate the profound impact on history, and it underscores the ongoing quest for economic and political enlightenment. So, in summary, the invisible hand knows what's best, and we all are a part of the invisible hand. We all are actors in this society, and I have faith in people more than I have faith in self-interested bureaucrats who wants to make themselves have a position in this economy, in this market. People knows what's best. People are going to do what they can to do what's more profitable and beneficial for them, and they should be allowed to do that. The only time when the government should interfere when people are trading and they are producing and creating in markets is to make sure that people are not harming one another. There's no scammers, thieves, contracts, stuff like that. That's when the government should be involved. That's the only time when the government should be involved. And especially keeping us safe, making sure things are ethical. But there is too much of a good thing, and this is where the government becomes too big, because now we see that a lot of people are being scammed and thieves, people are being robbed, etc., etc., etc. Businesses being, people stealing from businesses and stuff like that, from stores and everything. But a lot of that stuff will be seized if the government actually put his nose in his business of where it's supposed to be. And we see higher crime rates and stuff like this happening to people because the government is not really doing a really great job of what it's supposed to do, because it has its nose in business where it does not belong. So I'll just leave it there. If you're liking the content that I'm putting out, please let me know. Like and subscribe, share. Spread the word. Keep watching these videos, because I have a substantial wealth of information and stuff that I want to share and that I am structurally putting together. Most of these videos I just say them from the top of my head. Sometimes I do write scripts before I post a video if I'm talking on a real heavy subject, so I won't forget certain things. But I mean, I'm very passionate about this stuff. I love talking about this stuff because economics, one of the many fields that I'm interested in, but economics definitely is a very interesting and enlightening field. So yeah, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. Let me know how you feel in the comments. If you want to argue, please argue with me. Debate. I'm always up for a healthy debate. Just don't tell me how you feel, because I don't really too much, for most of the part, I don't really too much care about how people feel. But I would like to see if you have any information about that's counter to what I'm saying, factual information. Please present it to me. I've already seen it, because I study things that are counter to my beliefs. I study things counter to what I study. I don't just study one thing. On one side, I study both, and whichever is more factual and has more empirical evidence, that is the side that I choose to go by. Now, if there is no evidence on either side, if nothing is proven, then I go based on my own core values, and my core values, I go what's in alignment with that, and then I will just decide to make a decision from there. But at the end of the day, it can't be proven or disproved. So that's that. Thank you so much, and until then, I'll see you all next time.
Mr. Buffett, in the foreword to the 6th edition of Benjamin Graham's Security Analysis, you identified 4 books that you particularly cherish. 3 of these books were authored by Graham himself, and their influence on you is well known. The contributions of the 4th book to your thinking, however, that book was Adam Smith's The Wealth of Nations, published in 1776. What that book meant to you is seldom discussed. So my question is, what did you learn from The Wealth of Nations, and how did it shape your investment and business philosophy?
Well, it doesn't shape my investment philosophy, but I certainly learned economics from it. And my friend Bill Gates gave me an original copy of it. I was able to study it as Adam Smith wrote it in 1776. There's just, if you read Adam Smith, and if you read Keynes, Ricardo, and if you also read that little book we've got out there called "Where Are the Customer's Yachts?" you will have a lot of wisdom.
Adam Smith is one of those guys that's really worn well. I mean, he is rightly recognized as one of the wisest people that ever came along. And of course, the lessons that he taught way back then were taught again when communism failed so terribly, and people like Singapore and Taiwan and China and so forth came up so fast. The productive power of the capitalist system is simply unbelievable. And he understood that fully and early, and he's done a lot of good.
I took an idea of his on the specialization of labor, and he talked about people making pins or something, but I applied that actually to philanthropy. I mean, the idea that you let other people do what they're best at and stick with what you're best at, I've carried from mowing my lawn to philanthropy, and it's a wonderful thing to just shove off everything and saying somebody else is better than that, and than I am at that, and then work in the field that's most productive for you.